we're The Spiritual View. We're a community interested in creating a supportive space for people trying to explore, validate, and honor our natural, intuitive, and healing abilities. My name's Karleen.
I'm Christine.
I'm Christina.
And I'm Bisma.
And today's subject
is clairvoyance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big subject.
Very big.
We're going to do a quick energy report first, though.
Yes. Okay, so energy report. The moon enters into the sign of Sagittarius. So it's a great time to be introspective, practice meditation, and clearing your mind and clearing any blocked energy. The energy is going to feel really sluggish. So it's gonna feel like you're having to make constant adjustments throughout your day-to-day life. So just focus on yourself, stay grounded, and try to be mindful of your feelings. It's going to be really important for this time of the month.
Great, thank you. Now, we have a huge topic today, clairvoyance. I know that this is probably a big one for a lot of us. Do you want to share any experiences, or how does clairvoyance come about?
I'll briefly talk about the brow chakra. So we're kind of talking about chakras along with every clair that we're talking about, and this specific psychic sense comes through our brow chakra, which is also tied to our pineal gland. And it's inner seeing. So it's basically, if you can imagine that you are told to imagine the front of your house in your mind and count how many windows you have. That is the same type of inner seeing as people get when they're receiving psychic information. So it can be compelled upon person's imagination. Like, I want to imagine a blue elephant with a duck on top with the green carousel, and you can totally picture that. Or you might be in receiving mode and receive information through images. So it's kind of all works through the same place.
So you can see pictures, objects, loved ones. You can see them the way that they actually are, or you can see them abstractly sometimes in symbols or any which way that they feel you need to have or receive the information. And it can it's derived directly from an external source.
And time, you can look and see forward, backwards, in the present.
Yeah, you can. So there's 3 kind of subcategories, I guess you could say, for clairvoyance. There's precognition, there's spontaneous clairvoyance, and then there's retrocognition. So retrocognition is where you are able to see events in the past. Precognition is when you're able to see things in the future before they happen. And then spontaneous clairvoyance is when you're actually able to view them as they're happening. So like remote viewing of somebody that might be living, or a certain situation would be an example of that.
Yeah. Bisma, how do you experience clairvoyance?
I experience it in all different types of forms. So the precognition, the spontaneous, and the recognition. A lot of times, also for precognition, we can see dreams. We can see things happening in the future in dreams, and that sometimes we can see them really clearly. Sometimes we'll see them in symbols. It just depends on how you see your dreams. But I've noticed that that's really powerful. And then also a lot of people have deja vu, and that also is a form of clairvoyance. So yeah. Like a few other things, if you see clear images, vivid images when you're talking to someone, or during your sessions, if you read, or if you do intuitive work, mediumship work, you can see clear images. Sometimes people just get little tiny bits and pieces, and if you keep working with that or going into that, you'll start you'll start seeing more and developing more.
Also, a lot of times when people see images, they also have a lot of other senses going with it. They'll have a feeling sense of it, they'll have a thought that goes with it, so it's not independent of all of the other senses. Some of the things that I've been seeing recently that is really new to me is seeing people's energy, the colors around them, their aura, seeing things like energetic ties with other people. Some people call it cords. And just seeing energy in the world, in my inner world, in my mind, not externally. That's another sense itself. But seeing it in my mind, being able to see those things when I'm interacting with people and doing work with them. Also, I practice hypnosis, and in hypnosis, the hypnosis process itself kind of activates people's retrocognition and precognition, because we can do sessions where people go back to memories and they see and experience them in a completely new, compelling way with emotion and everything there that they may not have if they were just to consciously remember it. And then also we can do, we do sessions sometimes where we'll do a future journey and see what your future self looks like. And my belief is that people are really tapping into this clairvoyance when they're doing that. It's just the hypnosis helps people to relax and really experience it with their eyes closed and focusing in on their inner world. Yeah.
That's interesting. I had a session with you, and that was very awesome.
Yeah.
We did some past life regression work, and I could physically feel every emotion and see everything that was going on. It was really intense, but it was also really beautiful. So.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Other examples or
You said you're very clairvoyant.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like Bisma said, in dreams, I had one where I was watching, it was just playing out in my dream of my friend fencing, and his teacher looked like Frank Zappa, had a goatee, beard, dark hair, and then at the end of their fencing match, he took off, I don't know what they called their fencing mask, and he said, "You're a worthy opponent." And then the next day I called him up and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I totally had a dream with you in it, and this is what happened." And 2 weeks later he told me, he said, "You know what, I had this really strange feeling when I was fencing with my teacher." And at the very end he took off his mask and said, "You're a very worthy opponent," just like what you said. And I felt like you were, like there's somebody else in the room. And then he sent me a picture of what his teacher looks like, and total spitting image of Frank Zappa. So it was really interesting, like things like that, where you can see something. But yeah, always coming in images. Images are really strong.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should each share like a cool story about our clairvoyant experiences. I know Karleen just did, but
Well, you go next. I'm sure you have.
I'm trying to decide which one I want to share.
decide,
Still,
I mean, for me, mediumistically, like I get a lot of images and seeing loved ones in my mind's eye, and very vivid. Sometimes they're not vivid. Sometimes they're very abstract, and so it's hard for me to kind of figure it out and have to ask for them to show me in a different way. But there was this one time that it was almost one of the first times I'd ever really had that experience where I was reading somebody. I was still very new to all this, and somebody's grandfather was standing in the middle of a field. I could clearly see the way that he was dressed. He was smiling at me, and he just kind of waved at me and said hello, and I was like, hello back. In my mind's eye, it was really bizarre. One of the first times I've ever had one of those experiences, and it was amazing. And but I could visibly see everything that was going on. The tools that he was using in the field, where he was standing. It was like a vivid working movie picture. And that happens a lot when I do the line of work that I do. Yeah.
Well, I guess for me, I meditate a lot, and during my meditations, like when I'm really, really in a deep, calm state, images will just pop in, and sometimes like I'll just see things that are happening in the world or that are happening with my people that I know, and they're really, really detailed and really strong. And I can't think of a particular experience, but I know that happens to me a lot. And even during readings, like all the time, just images, pictures, symbols, sometimes numbers as well. They come up. just like in the front of my face. That's pretty cool. Another thing I was going to talk about was guided meditations are really great way for you to also develop your clairvoyance, and I think I did a lot of guided meditations before as well, so I would like see everything that was being said, and I feel like that really helped me get stronger in my clairvoyance. So
Yeah. So I guess I'm just trying to narrow it down. So I guess I use clairvoyance when it's how I see people's loved ones on the other side. They'll pop up in my mind's eye, almost like hello, like their face, and I'm like, oh, and my attention will go to them, and I can see them and examine them in my mind's eye. But example of really seeing something before it happened, I guess a good story of that is when I was a teenager. I was out in the woods with friends at a bonfire, and there was drinking and stuff going on. And I walked out to my car, which was a little ways away, to go get something out of the car, which was my purse, I think. And on the way back, I had a vision, which the vision was probably a minute long, but it was a very long vision, happened all at once. Like it's like time is just so fast when you have visions. And I had this vision that I walked back, and I saw flashlights, and I saw cops, and I yelled police, and everyone scatters, and then it kind of fast forwarded like a movie, like really quickly, and a bunch of people get arrested, and I came back up the hill, and I realized that, and I shared with my friends what was going to happen, and I decided I'm going to leave. Like I'm going to take my friends that believe me, and I'm going to hang out on the side and just wait like 15 minutes and see if it happens, because it felt like it was going to happen really soon. And some other people believed me, and they went up in the hill, and some other people didn't believe me. But when most of the people dissipated out into the woods, away from this like little clearing where the fire was, they got kind of itchy, and so everyone basically ended up dissipating into the woods, and we waited for like 5 to 7 minutes, probably not even that long. And someone was impatient and was like, oh, she's crazy, we're gonna go back down. So they started to slowly come back down to the fire, and it's up on this hill, and me and my friends were still hanging out on the side, and we saw the flashlights, we saw the cops, and it was 3 cops exactly like I saw, walking up this hill and surprising everyone running away, and people getting arrested. And my friends listened to me because I had premonitions about things before that had happened, so they knew to trust my intuition on it, and so I kind of saved their butts. And I guess it was probably just a message to protect me from getting in trouble, and I'm really glad I had it. But it was the reason why I'm sharing it is because it was one of the most clairvoyant visions I ever had. It's like I saw the whole movie play out, and it was like, without a doubt, I knew it was going to happen. And then I watched it happen, like from the same perspective, from the same place I was at. It's so weird. I can't even describe how cool that is, but also how hard it is to wrap my head around, like, what was that? I just decided not to ask questions and just receive the guidance. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So how do you develop or kind of strengthen this ability? Does anybody have any?
I think for all the clairs, it's going to be the same message. Just practice grounding, practice exercising those muscles, practice. Like,
and also
crystals.
not taking it too seriously as well, because you kind of have to be in this space of amusement and lightheartedness and not taking it so seriously. And when you go in with that kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't get it right this time, but I'll try again, and you can just have fun with it, it might be, I think you're more open to it.
There's totally some things that you can actually, to flex your muscle. I used to do this as a kid, because I used to always say, I'm psychic, and my stepdad would say, no, you're psycho. Really, he was joking, but it was annoying. We would take a deck of cards, and I would try to guess what the card was the person was holding. Imagine it in my mind's eye. I would have them imagine their mind's eye, and then I would guess. I was pretty good at that, and I feel like I'm getting good at that again. Also, doing guided meditations where you're visualizing moving energy and you're visualizing some sort of process. helps to flex that inner seeing because you're walking through it. Or just simple exercises as closing your eyes and imagining your house and trying to count all the windows of your house because you're actually seeing and walking through. You're practicing that. Those are all visualizations. Hypnosis is practicing it too. I mean, there's tons of ways you can practice inner seeing.
Yeah, even just meditating without any guided imagery or any guided meditations, just sitting and breathing and like focusing on your inner breath, inner being, and just kind of like keeping your mind open, keeping your being open, and when you're putting yourself in a place of allowing, and when you're in that state of allowance, you're able to tune in and receive more messages, so see more images or feel or whatever may come forward. Another thing, also detoxing your pineal gland, so focusing on drinking lots of like clean alkaline water. I would say cilantro is really good for detoxifying. Lots and lots of greens. You can juice, do smoothies. Do you have any?
Spirulina,
Spirulina, chlorella.
Cut out fluoride.
Yeah, no fluoride. Even as your
detoxify it.
toothpaste, make sure you try to get no fluoride toothpaste. Yes.
I think that just having as clean of a diet as you can. I mean,
it's
I
important.
think the heavy metals are the ones that are probably the worst.
Yeah.
So I know this was an issue for me, but having dental amalgams or fillings that are mercury based, and if you do take them out, do it slowly, don't do it all at once, because that'll just flood your whole body with some more heavy metals. So
Wow,
It's a good tip.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning all kinds of cool things.
We're constantly learning.
Yeah.
anything else you want to share about clairvoyance?
I was thinking.
I mean, you mentioned.
Did we talk
auras.
about the indigo is the color of the brow chakra, which is associated with clairvoyance, and these crystals here that we have, which maybe you could tell us
Those
about.
are amethyst.
Some of
Amethyst
these.
is just it's really helpful for your third eye. So if you're having some trouble or you want to strengthen or just get in touch with that chakra, amethysts are a great crystal, another tool that can help you with that.
Oh, most of the purple crystals are good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, third eye stuff.
And if you want to try to remember your dreams, or you want to have vivid dreams, sleeping with these crystals like in your pillowcase or near you can actually enhance your remembrance and your prophetic dreams. If you want to try that.
also having a dream journal, writing your dreams as soon as you get up. In as much detail, even if it's broken up, as much detail as you can write, colors, thoughts, feelings, whatever it is, just writing it and paying attention to your daily life, whatever images come in your mind, or whatever clairvoyance that you're receiving, really paying attention to it. I feel like when you do that, you learn how clairvoyance is in your life too. Like, you learn what it means for you, and that's really powerful.
So the more that you notice it, or you validate, or spend time with it,
you understand it.
And the more that it'll happen too, because you're working that muscle, you're strengthening it.
Yep.
Yeah, like one way that I use it all the time, for instance, like getting here today, I'm really good at getting where I need to go, but I don't necessarily know the directions or the street names, but I remember what each turn looks like. So I can't really explain to someone how to get somewhere very well, but if I'm driving the path, I go, oh, this is the turn, I remember that tree or that car or that fence. It's because it's in my mind's eye. It's the clairvoyance that I'm using. It's like I know where I'm going. I remember the sign, and then like how long the word was, and then it starts with M, but I don't remember what the word was. So like we use this every day. I feel like a lot of people use this all the time. It's just really, again, being aware and developing it if you want to.
Yeah, but the deck of cards, even as a kid, it's a perfect way to quickly just say, oh, okay, I got that one, or I didn't get that one. I'll try
Although you
this
could be
one.
using a different psychic sense with that. It could be clairvoyance, or it could be claircognizance. So it's just those two different psychic senses.
Which will be
Our next topic.
the next topic.
Yeah. So our next topic we'll be talking about, as we're moving up to the different psychic senses, is claircognizance. It's our crown chakra. It's one of my favorite ones. And we will share with you all that we can about our personal experiences, as well as the knowledge we have about that. So if you can, please comment on our Facebook or on YouTube if you have questions about that, or Instagram if you have questions about clairvoyance or claircognizance. If you want to share your experiences and how you use it, or if you have questions that you want us to address, please share them, because we want to be able to provide the feedback and knowledge that we can give to you. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.